For 5 years, the woman who hijacked my body played house. In the 5th year, she finally got bored and ran off with her so-called system, abandoning everything without a goodbye. She left behind a household in ruins, a son spoiled until he barely resembled a child, and a husband whose distance could be felt the moment I stepped into the room. Before I even had the chance to absorb the shock, glowing text slid across my vision like a live chat feed. What a disaster of a starting point. I have never seen a transmigration waste a 5-year head start this badly. Her assignment was to fix the brat and melt the father's icy heart so the villains wouldn't interfere with the main characters. Instead, she dodged one death flag and spent the rest of the time buying nonsense. The kids unbearable. The husbands checked out. This whole family is exhausting. Honestly, they should all be taken off the map. So that was it. I was a disposable extra, written to die early. And the man I married and the child I gave birth to, they were the antagonists of the story. The spectral comments kept scrolling, listing every one of my son's faults. Rude, impatient, self-centered, a bully. I didn't have time to organize my thoughts before a heavy thumping rattled the staircase. A round little boy barreled downward, like a runaway ball. Something ancient and instinctive stirred in my chest. I knew immediately this was my child. He spotted me in the living room, then brushed past, as if I were a stranger. His sights were locked on the kitchen and the gleaming steel refrigerator. The nanny chased after him. "Oh, Leo, honey, you already had 3 ice creams today. If your stomach hurts, your father will blame me when he returns." Leo ignored her completely. She looked at me with a silent plea. Why look at her? She's the biological mother, but she disappeared for 5 years. She'll just shower him with more treats out of guilt. Honestly, the transmigrator's so-called motherly affection was just non-stop spoiling. He's worse now than in the original version. He even lost his cute looks because she let him eat everything in sight. With that kind of future, he'll grow up broke, yelling at his parents, wasting his inheritance. The path is already set. If that little butterball keeled over, I wouldn't cared. That was the final straw. Leo Harrison. Put the ice cream down. I remembered choosing that name with Cole when I was 8 months pregnant. Leo, a name meant to reflect strength and brightness. Leo turned to look at me, disdain painted across his face. "You're annoying. You can't boss me around." Then he shoved a giant bite into his mouth, vanilla smearing around his lips. His tiny eyes squeezed shut in sugary bliss. He noticed I was still watching, glared with challenge, then raised both hands and flipped me off with both middle fingers. Something cold and sharp snapped inside me. Spoiling him? Not a chance. I rose from the sofa and grabbed his shoulder firmly. "My little wild boar.
Who taught you that?"
Where did you learn it? Let go of me. Let go. When Dad gets home, you'll be sorry. Please." After allowing our son to turn into this, Cole was going to hear from me the moment he walked in the door. I asked the stunned nanny to bring me a roll of packing tape. Then I took Leo's hand, held up his middle finger, and wrapped tape around his fist so that lone finger remained sticking straight up. If he liked making that gesture so much, he could enjoy holding it for a while. To his credit, he didn't cry. He just glared at me, fists taped and stiff like a little crab. "When Dad comes back, I'm telling him you bullied me. You won't get your allowance. You won't be able to buy your cheap jewelry. When is your father returning?" Leo pushed his lower lip out and refused to speak. I looked at the nanny. "Mr. Harrison is traveling for work in Chicago. He should be home in about a week." "Is he always this out of control?" I asked quietly. She shifted uncomfortably. "He behaves a little better when his father is around." I nodded. I told her not to remove the tape for any reason, then headed upstairs. To my surprise, the house looked almost exactly the same as I remembered. Even the little ceramic horse on the console table, the one I chipped by accident years ago, still sat in the same place. Part 3. 5 years ago, I lost consciousness right after giving birth. Everything after that felt like drifting inside a dream. I sensed my body moving and speaking, but from a distance, like watching someone else pilot it. I thought I was simply asleep for a long time. Only when those floating comments appeared did I realize 5 years had actually passed. I walked toward the master bedroom, following memory. A sleek digital lock I didn't recognize had been installed on the door. The original owner doesn't know. That lock was added to keep the transmigrator out. Did anyone ever figure out the password? She tried breaking in once, but failed every time. Nope. She tried birthdays, anniversaries, everything. She messed up so many times, she triggered the alarm system. funniest thing ever. Even we have never seen inside Cole's room. I raised an eyebrow, typed a familiar set of numbers, and pushed the handle down. The door opened immediately, and the comment feed exploded in disbelief. The bedroom looked almost exactly the same. The slate gray duvet was the same color as the one I left behind when I went into labor. Only one thing was different, a stack of locked journals on the nightstand. Apparently, in the years I was gone, Cole had developed the habit of locking away anything that mattered. I picked one up. Some of the pages were warped, as if water had once soaked through them before drying. The chat feed begged me to break the locks, to read his secrets. I ignored it and placed the journal back exactly where it had been. At dinner, I stopped the nanny from preparing Leo's usual indulgent feast. "No need," I said. "Starting tonight, he's on a diet." I glanced at his taped fists. "Let's begin with a simple veggie sandwich."
"Why?"
"Just because I flipped you off, you're punishing me?" Leo protested loudly. I met his glare evenly. "Flipping someone off is never acceptable, especially your mother. You haven't apologized, and this isn't punishment. It's for your health." Leo puffed his cheeks, muttering something under his breath. "You're not my—" I couldn't catch the rest, but it wasn't flattering. When it was time to eat, he motioned for me to remove the tape. "Are you going to do this again?" I asked. He avoided my gaze, lips pushed out.
"No."
A pause. Then in a tiny voice, "I'm sorry. Not gonna lie, the OG knows how to deal with the brat. If he hadn't apologized, those fingers would have stayed taped forever." LMAO. "I love this, more of this, please." Wait, is she forgetting the consequences? This isn't 5 years ago. Cole could legitimately lose it when he returns. If this becomes a bitter divorce instead of a love story, all right. Cole losing his temper? Part of me couldn't wait to see it. Whether Cole would erupt remained unknown. Leo, however, wasted no time. At dinner, he glared at his lettuce and egg sandwich, eyes red. "This is all I get." I nodded. Even fried the egg instead of boiling it, a small concession. "I want sweet and sour ribs," he yelled. "Then don't eat." Huffing, he stormed out. I sighed. I hadn't wanted a full-blown battle, but he'd pushed too far. I called the nanny, grabbed a trash bag, and started searching for his hidden snacks. Caught crouched by his bed, munching on potato chips, he froze. His hands trembled as each bag disappeared into the bag. "You're playing dirty," he wailed. I ignored him, moving next to the media room and his small study. The kid had been clever hiding them in multiple spots. Finally, he broke down completely. "Wah. My snacks. I saved my allowance for this. Take my life, but not my snacks." Tears streamed down, tiny sobs hitching through his words. I knelt, pulling him into a hug, patting his back. "I'm just keeping them safe for now. Eat your meals, and you'll get them back." Instantly, he calmed, pressing his head to my shoulder, whispering, "Mommy?" My chest squeezed. "Yes, baby. I'm here." After the great snack confiscation, Leo grew surprisingly obedient. But he couldn't resist sneaking treats, and over 2 days, we waged a silent, exhausting war of wits. Finally, I introduced my secret weapon. A deal. Eat a snack, burn it off. Leo agreed at first without hesitation. That evening, I wheeled out a small wiggle car. "Is this for me?" he asked, eyes lighting up. "Not quite," I said, hopping on. He frowned, but let me have it first, gracious in his disappointment. I strapped a rope harness around him, explaining sweetly. "Ew. Ate 2 bags of chips, an ice cream bar, tacos, chocolate, and a cupcake. A walk won't cut it. Time for a fun parent-child activity." He gulped. "But I'm just a kid. Your choice, fun activity or snacks." He said nothing, lowered his head, and began pulling. Exhaustion quickly colored his tiny face, every tug making him pant. After the weekend, the nanny dropped Leo off at kindergarten. With the house quiet, I logged in to review the company Cole and I had built together. He coded, I handled PR. He'd always been introverted, uncomfortable with networking. I was stunned. In the last 5 years, Cole had grown the company far beyond my expectations. Even my own shares had multiplied dramatically. Relief washed over me. No matter what happened between us, I could start anew on my terms. I spent the morning catching up on market changes and scouting new investment opportunities. Then my phone rang. "Leo Harrison's parent? Your child assaulted another student. The other parent is here. Please come immediately." The commentary feed lit up. Classic face-slapping plot point incoming. Is it a misunderstanding? Would Leo act out after all her work? Nope. He did it on purpose. Bad seed. When will this annoying family be written out of the story? That spoiled brat thinks money makes him untouchable. He has no idea the male lead is heir to a New York fortune. One visit and their company is toast. I raised an eyebrow, storing that last tidbit quietly for later. When I arrived at the school, I found Leo standing in a corner, his head bowed. Across the room, a poised woman gently held a small girl, speaking to her in soothing tones. To prevent any disputes, the teacher immediately pulled up the security footage. Assault was probably too strong a word, but it confirmed Leo had shoved the girl. I crouched down beside him. Did she say something unkind to you? Leo shook his head. Did she do anything that hurt you when the teachers weren't watching? He thought for a moment, then shook his head again. Don't bother asking. She was just playing with toys. Your kid walked over and pushed her because she ignored him. Typical brat. Ever feel that frustration through a screen, like you just want to slap someone? He has a father, but no proper guidance. If he were mine, a little corrective smack would have saved everyone time. Despite the commentary, I insisted on hearing him out myself. Why did you push her? Leo turned his head away. I stroked his hair softly and didn't press him further. Instead, I approached the other mother and apologized sincerely. I promised to cover medical costs, any related expenses, and compensate her for lost work. The woman visibly relaxed, likely assuming a child with a reputation like Leo's would have an equally challenging parent. My earnestness seemed to disarm her. I signed Leo out for the afternoon. Before leaving, the teacher pulled me aside. Mrs. Harrison, I don't mean to complain, but this isn't the first time Leo's been aggressive. Before, it was mostly boys, and a few bumps could be overlooked. You would send the nanny, and I'd let it slide. But now he's bullied a little girl who did nothing to provoke him. Her expression was a mix of frustration and sympathy. I know parents are busy, but children require responsibility once they're born. Outside the office, Leo waited, lower lip caught between his teeth. He probably expected a scolding, but I stayed calm. Even at home, I acted like nothing had happened. It was Leo who was restless, jittery. He kept running over just to glance at me. Dinner passed without incident. He ate in the proper order, vegetables, protein, then carbs. During our evening walk, he offered to pull the wiggle car again. I refused, explaining his calorie intake hadn't exceeded the limit, so no extra exercise was needed. He slumped, mumbling, "Oh." Seeing his subdued behavior, a wave of relief washed over me. My son wasn't beyond hope. A little later, Leo tugged on my sleeve. You're not going to yell at me about today? I spoke softly. I believe in you. I don't want to accuse you before hearing your side. Even if others think it's your fault, I want to know your perspective first. With me, you always have the chance to explain. At that, Leo broke down, throwing himself into my arms, sobbing. He apologized repeatedly, explaining he didn't mean to hurt the girl. He just wanted her, Lily, to notice and play with him. He admitted the other children teased him relentlessly, calling him fat and mean, like Dudley Disley from Harry Potter. Lily was the only one who never mocked him. Through tears, he poured out the story. I'm not Dudley. I didn't start it. I just wanted to play with Lily. I didn't mean for her to fall. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Sorry, Lily. Comments reappeared. Just like the heroine's daughter. Such a sweet, kind little angel. Haha, Dudley. That's perfect. Kids can be brutal. Funny? Name-calling is still bullying. People who haven't experienced it don't understand the helplessness. The more you protest, the worse it gets. This is like a test. Provoked once, he confirmed the fat bully label. Kids can be cruel. A dull ache spread through me. Once Leo's sobs subsided, I began to reason with him. I explained that whether Lily wanted to play or not was her choice. He shouldn't have tried to force her attention after she ignored him. Seeing him confused, I tried another approach. Remember when other kids called you Dudley? You told them you didn't like it, but they ignored you. They turned it into a joke and tried to make you accept it. That made you unhappy, right? That's the feeling of not being respected. I continued. Today, did you do the same thing to Lily, even if unintentionally? Leo thought long and hard, then nodded, guilt etched across his face. He promised never to repeat it. I pushed gently. So, what will you do tomorrow? I'll apologize to Lily. And if she doesn't accept it? He looked up, confident. It's her choice. I won't bother her again. I'll try my best to be better, and wait for her forgiveness. I stroked his hair as he whispered. Mommy, I feel really bad. Can I make it up to her? The next morning, for the first time ever, I let Leo take his limited edition snack box to school. Just as he was about to leave, I called him back. Remember, I said, if anyone calls you Dudley again, you need to tell them clearly and calmly that you don't like it. Then let the teacher know how it made you feel. He stared at his shoes. What if they don't listen? You'll have done everything you could. What they choose to do next isn't your responsibility. That's on them and their parents. Never blame yourself for someone else's bad behavior. That's the fool's trap. The commentary feed lit up. Exactly. Say it once. Stand your ground. If they ignore you, that's their problem, not yours. A brilliant lesson in separating the problem from yourself. Love it. I'm kind of envious of the kid. His mom is so patient. Or is Leo just manipulating her for snacks? As Leo entered the classroom, he kept glancing back at me. I offered a reassuring smile. He handed the snack box to Lily, then took a small, formal bow of apology. I turned toward the administrative office. My son had done his part. The rest was up to me. Weeks later, Leo's smiles became more frequent, and his temper noticeably softened. He told me the teacher had addressed the children calling names, and now no one teased him anymore. Lily had forgiven him and even gifted him a small bag of homemade cookies. Before I knew it, the day Cole returned had arrived. That night, I was asleep in our room when a pair of hands clamped around my throat. A low, furious whisper came into my ear. How did you get in here? Did your system crack the code? I told you never to come near my room. Cole's voice. Instantly recognizable. Without thinking, I slapped him sharply across the face. The sound echoed through the room. Cole froze, loosening his grip. Ava. He fumbled for the lamp on the nightstand. Light filled the room. I rubbed my eyes. Cole, I said hoarsely. Long time no see. Before I could react further, he pulled me into a crushing hug. His arms locked around me, as if he feared letting go would make me disappear. You're back, he whispered. I thought. My pajama shoulder grew damp from his sudden tears. I hugged him with all my strength. Don't be afraid, I murmured. I'm not leaving again. The commentary feed exploded. Wait. He recognized her immediately? I expected months of angst. One slap and boom. Big villain remembers. Incredible. Even the neck grab was kind of intense. Imagine if he kissed her right after. Cole didn't release me all night, holding me as though letting go would erase me. To calm my nerves, he recounted the past 5 years. He realized something was wrong the moment I, or the woman in my body, returned from the recovery center. Initially, he suspected postpartum depression and consulted psychologists secretly. When her habits, wardrobe, and mannerisms fully diverged from mine, he knew the truth. He tried probing the imposter a few times, but she eventually revealed herself. I'm here to save your wife's life, she smirked. As for leaving, depends on my mood. Cole backed down, protecting me while keeping a tense peace with the intruder. I pinched his cheek softly. So you let our son run wild. Cole pressed his forehead to mine. I tried. But his eyes, they're exactly like yours. Every outburst reminded me of you. Plus, he trailed off. I guessed correctly. The imposter's luxurious lifestyle and relentless indulgence left little time for parenting. She had no access to our accounts, never worked, and left the household under Cole's responsibility. He continued, I also didn't want him calling her mommy. Eventually, he sensed something was off. I think he realized she was a stepmother figure. Hence, when Cole tried to discipline Leo, the boy would wail, if my real mommy were here, she wouldn't treat me like this. Me. That manipulative little brat. The next morning, I slept in for the first time in ages. When I finally opened my eyes, it was already noon. Cole lay propped on his elbow, watching me. He looked like he hadn't slept a wink. Aren't you tired? I asked. He shook his head, pressing my hand to his cheek gently. A blush warmed my neck. During our early relationship, he had been clingy, slightly less so now. As sunlight streamed through the curtains, the commentary feed erupted. No wonder he's the iconic villain. That face in daylight, perfection. Now I understand why the Transmigrator ran. Living with that man, no touch allowed? I'd lose it too. I leaned back, teasing. You've got that married man glow about you. He leaned over and kissed me deeply. We were about to get carried away when a sharp knock interrupted us. Leo's voice. The sun's up. Wake up, mommy. Me. Cole. I got up and opened the door myself. At the breakfast table, Leo was practically vibrating with excitement over Cole's return. He recounted his week's good deeds nonstop. I listened smiling. Soon, he requested a new smartwatch he'd seen advertised. In the past, Cole would have agreed instantly. This time, he straightened, looked from Leo to me, then back. "All the money in this house belongs to Mommy," he said. "And Daddy belongs to Mommy, too." The message was clear. Authority had shifted. Leo, stunned, turned his puppy eyes on me. This time, he added promises of good behavior with his pleas. I smiled and printed a contract. I, Ava Harrison, would purchase the smartwatch for Leo. In return, Leo agreed to follow all my household rules: washing dishes, cleaning, tidying, no sneaky snacks, helping with chores, and pulling the wiggle car for exercise until age 18. Violations would result in snack confiscation or loss of toys and the smartwatch. Copies were kept by each family member. Leo read, grimaced, and signed. Comments went wild. The treaty of a defeated nation. "Leo Harrison, you've been officially outmaneuvered. The smartwatch treaty marks the day Ava Harrison gained an indentured servant. That watch strap won't survive the contract." Leo got a watch, but really a court summons tracker. Life had settled into a quiet rhythm, and summer vacation arrived before we knew it. One afternoon, I was in the study with Cole, reviewing the company's 5-year plan, when the commentary feed erupted. OMG, I got so used to the villain family's slice-of-life antics that I forgot a major plot twist is coming. The original had me furious. Leo almost gets Lily killed because he hides the truth. Weren't the kidnappers targeting the New York heir's daughter? Leo was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. No excuses. Leo's actions make him irredeemable. The heroine couldn't act fast herself? Why wait until the last second? Pride over her daughter's safety. Stop blaming her. Relax, Leo didn't push Lily this time. No. Both kids were kidnapped together. I shot upright from my chair. Cole's eyes widened. "Ava, what is it?" I barely managed to breathe. Leo might have been kidnapped. His jaw tightened. Without another word, he grabbed the car keys, and we sped to the kindergarten. As we pulled up, a call confirmed our worst fears. My vision blurred, and I would have collapsed if Cole hadn't caught me. "It's okay, Ava. He'll be fine," he said, calm as a rock, though his hand trembled over the phone dialing 911. Not long after, Lily's mother received the news and collapsed in tears at the school gate. I asked tentatively if she wanted to contact Lily's father. She froze, shook her head, muttering something about his fiancée. The comment feed was relentless. "It's a misunderstanding. He only has eyes for you. The heroine is weak. The plot's dull compared to villain family antics. Lily's plot armor is solid, but Leo not so sure." Ignoring them, I dialed a number saved long ago. No plot armor, no main character excuses. I was getting my son back. Less than 2 hours later, a roaring helicopter descended above the kindergarten. Cole had arrived. I quickly explained the situation, emphasizing that Leo was collateral damage. His expression hardened. Rapid calls were made, and within minutes, the kidnapper's location was pinpointed to an industrial area. They were armed, so the operation had to be precise. I leaned against him, struggling to breathe through the anxiety. Then my phone buzzed, an emergency alert from Leo's smartwatch. The commentary feed exploded. "Switching POVs. The kids are working together. Doggy door escape in progress." What is Leo doing taking off Lily's coat? He's using it to distract the kidnappers? Insane. He left the watch with Lily and sent the location. Leo is a hero. I'm crying, never calling him a butterball again. Tears streamed down my face as I relayed Leo's location to the authorities. The factory was empty when the operation launched. Late that night, they found Leo, curled in a thicket, his arms and legs scraped. He slept lightly. "Leo," I called, voice trembling. His eyes opened. "Mommy, you came to save me?" I nodded, tears flowing. He reached up with a shaky hand to wipe my cheek, eyes bright with concern. He asked about Lily and whether he'd done well protecting her. Through sobs, I reassured him. "Yes, you were brave. Mommy and Daddy's little hero." He puffed out his chest and took my hand. The next instant, his legs gave out, and he collapsed to the ground. It took 2 weeks before Leo was cleared to leave the hospital. When we found him, he'd been terrified and running a high fever. The fever broke quickly, but Cole and I insisted he stay for extra observation. During that time, the male lead's family visited twice. "Mrs. Harrison, Mr. Harrison," Lily's father said, grave. "Thank you for everything. I'm deeply sorry your son was endangered. If there is ever anything I can do to help, please tell me. I offered a polite, neutral response. All the previous ambitions I might have held for influence or leverage had evaporated. The commentary feed reminded me of one truth. Main characters attract disaster, kidnappings, accidents, illnesses. I didn't want wealth or fame. I just wanted our peaceful, safe life. After 2 weeks of hospital meals, Leo had slimmed down. His round cheeks were now softly defined, his bright eyes visible again. Exactly as Cole had said, he had inherited the best features from both of us. Even the ghostly commentators began to cheer him on. Another year rolled by, and Leo began losing his baby teeth. To stop midnight chocolate raids, I installed a small camera inside the fridge. 3 days later, the culprit was caught red-handed. At that precise moment, Cole was whispering in my ear, coaxing me to close my eyes and focus on the sensations. A notification pinged on my phone, but he snatched it before I could see. "Ava," he murmured, low and velvety. "Concentrate." "Cole, that tickles. What about this?" My arms, draped around his neck, tightened in protest. I told him it was too much. He ignored me. I bit my lip, trying to suppress a gasp. "Cole," I panted, "behave like a human being." He chuckled softly, lips brushing my ear. "I am. Right now." The next morning, when I checked the fridge footage, the chocolate was already gone. Leo had eaten it. I lectured them both. Leo looked pitiful, begging forgiveness. Cole insisted on taking the blame, spinning ridiculous lies with a perfectly straight face. "It was me," he said. "I asked Leo to get it for me. I was the one craving chocolate." I raised a brow. "Are you saying you lacked stamina?" He shut up immediately. The comment feed blinked back to life. "What stamina? What happened to Cole last night?" "Don't worry, he's in his prime." Smirk. Seeing his father's failed attempt to shoulder the blame, Leo panicked. "Mommy, actually, yesterday was very important," he said. "Oh, what day was that?" "It was the refrigerator's birthday. I thought it deserved a present for all its hard work." "So, you ate the chocolate for it?" Leo pouted. "I was helping it lose weight." The feed erupted. "The fridge, some owners are just built different. The fridge, my good master, I will serve you again in the next life." Leo is speaking in riddles. "Too cute, send a kiss to Andy." As punishment for the chocolate heist, I brought out the long-forgotten wiggle car after dinner. Cole sat on it first. Same rules, eat the calories, burn the calories. Leo took the lead, resignedly pulling. Cole's face turned beet red. Passers-by laughed good-naturedly as they trundled around the park. After 3 laps, I promised Cole a turn. He whined miserably, but agreed. When it was done, I feigned exhaustion. "Time to go home," I said, stretching. "Cole, QAQ." He sighed and carried the wiggle car back. Leo, grinning mischievously, ran up and took both our hands. The moon was bright, the breeze gentle. The cicadas chirped. For a family of 3, happiness was simple and complete. Epilogue 1. The Transmigrator. I had died from overwork and woke up in a novel I'd just binge-read. Not the heroine, not a supporting character, just cannon fodder already marked for death. The system bound to me assign my mission, be the villain's wife, raise his son, and provide warmth while they found their path. I agreed superficially, but didn't care. Corporate life had drained me. I had no energy for warming anyone else, and the original character barely existed in the story. Cole saw right through me after my return. I gave up and laid everything out, and the fun began. Sometimes, I caught him glaring at me in my sleep. But he couldn't do anything. I was occupying his wife's body. Raising Leo? Even less interest. Just indulge the child. Being a transmigrator had perks. Custom gowns, fine jewelry, and a taste of luxury I'd never imagined. But Cole's steadfast fidelity kept me from seeking my own fun, making life surprisingly dull. By the 5th year, I'd had enough. When the system nagged, I snapped and found the complaint process. I escaped. The chaos I left behind? Not my concern. Epilogue 2. Leo. Leo couldn't pinpoint when he began suspecting his mommy wasn't real. Maybe it was the time she left him with a nanny while admiring a new dress. Maybe it was all the unreasonable requests she always agreed to. Or the way his daddy sometimes looked at her, quietly pained. All he knew was her eyes were empty. No hugs, no kisses, just bored indifference. So he fought back emotionally, slowly ceasing to see her as his mother. But when his daddy wasn't home, sadness remained. Snacks helped, and when discipline made sense, he complied. Once he screamed, "If my real mommy were here, she wouldn't treat me like this." Seeing his father's face shatter, he regretted it instantly. Cole only stroked his head. Gradually, his mommy began to care again. Discipline, explanation, love. Leo's snacks lost their appeal, but the warmth of maternal care? Priceless. Epilogue 3. Cole. The commentary feed vanished about a year later. Ava finally spoke aloud. "My name is Ava Harrison, not cannon fodder." The stream disappeared forever. Later, she showed Cole her journals. He buried his face in her stomach, mock pouting. She teased him about the password. He only kissed her. His journals were simple, daily notes about his life and missing his wife. Tears had blurred the ink, giving weight to simple words. Ava traced them gently, leaning in to kiss his eye corner. "Sometimes, you're such a child," she said. Love makes people profound, but also childish. Cole's devotion wasn't for show. It was to build a future for Leo. If she hadn't returned, he would have waited until Leo turned 18 to find her. But she did come back. And in the warmth of that summer, their family was finally complete.